Welcome to the Kiwi Wedding Podcast. My name is Lydia. I am your host and a wedding photographer based in Auckland, New Zealand. Today on the show, we've got Nazneen. Nazneen is a wedding vendor. She is the director and head designer of Ultimate. Based in Auckland, they do custom bridal gowns and alterations. We touch on her wedding. She got married a while ago, and then go into her business journey. The whole story of how Ultimate came to be and where she has got to now. We chat through the whole process of getting a custom dress made, timelines, pricing, what it all looks like, alterations, getting your dress to fit you perfectly. Nazneen shares some great tips and I know you're going to love it. So let's get into it. Enjoy episode 17 with Nazneen. Hi Nazneen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You are married yourself, have been married for a while, and you also have your business, Ultimate. So I'm excited to chat about all of that with you. But to start off with, if you can maybe reflect back on getting married, can you tell us a little bit about when that was, your whole experience planning a wedding, and yeah, maybe how that's like tied into your career now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got married in 2015, so a while ago, and a lot has changed from then, definitely in terms of like bridal trends, the dresses and what you can do and whatnot with the accessories and stuff. So I wish I could get married again. But, yeah, so back in 2015, we um, we got married at Formosa, which is out in Whitford. And with the planning process, I think we did it just a year out. Um, so, yeah, a lot went into that 1 year. Firstly, we organized the venue, first and foremost, just because we did want a wedding in December and the dates, get taken quite quickly in December, especially at that time. Nowadays, you have weddings like on weekdays as well, and it's quite normal. Um, but yeah, so we sorted out the venue first, and then the photographer, um, and then the videographer at the same time, and then did the little bitty things like florals. The venue did all the decorations for us, like so they had the event planner, and we spoke to the event planner as to what we wanted and things like that. So that was still good. My husband took charge of the lighting and the music side of things, so that was really good. It's always good to share the responsibilities as well, so that's a key thing. In terms of my dress, I made my own dress. I also made my mother's and my sister's, who was the maid of honor as well. Yeah, all in the span of I think it was 3 months, because I just kept putting it off for quite some time, doing my own other planning for the wedding. But yeah, all those three ones were made within like 3 months span.
Can you tell us a little bit about your business, Ultimate, how you got started and yeah, your journey, what has led you to where you are today?
Yeah, yeah. So ultimately, I graduated in 2013 with from Wycliffe College, and so I've got a Bachelor of Fine Arts, major in fashion. And in 2014, I actually started Ultimate. So it was very fresh, and I always knew I wanted to go into dressmaking because I love the problem solving, the pattern making, the sewing side of things. And alterations just went hand in hand in things with the dressmaking as well. So not everyone wanted to get something made, they usually wanted to get something altered. So I did a lot with ball gowns at the very initial stage. So it was more ball gowns and cocktail dresses and party dresses and things like that. Thereafter, a few brides came to me for their bridal dress alterations, and brides they talk a lot amongst their friends. So I believe this one or two brides they were the friends, and their friends were getting married, so they came to me. And those group of girls, I believe they were from a particular bridal store because after doing them, the bridal store contacted me. So I became their point of contact for alterations for their bridal gowns. And then, yeah, pretty much just growth from there, really. I did stop alter me, actually. I don't think anyone knows this, but I did stop the business about a year or two, just because I had full-time work at the same time and somewhere else. So I was doing Alter Me part-time and it just got too much. It was in 2016 that I actually started Alter Me full-time. And then on, it's been full-time ever since.
That's so cool. And you've recently moved into a new space as well.
Yes, yes, I have. Yeah, so I've always been working from home, and it kind of just made sense at the time as well. I've got two young kids. I didn't want to miss out on anything with them as well. Um, but yeah, so I moved to Khyber Pass Road in Newmarket. Yeah, bigger space. I'm in here right now. I love it. Absolutely. My team's with me.
Looks like a beautiful space for brides to come and visit, and yeah, really nice experience there. So, can you talk a bit about the kind of services that you offer? So, obviously, alterations and then bespoke dressmaking as well. If you can, yeah, run us through kind of what you do there.
Yeah, so two main services is bridal alterations and bespoke bridal. And then from there on, we also do general alterations and dressmaking as well. So general dressmaking basically is more for anyone who wants to get something made that is not a bride. So mother of the brides, bridesmaids, we give that a lot as well. Um, and the general alterations, we do menswear as well. We don't target the men as much, but we do suits alterations and just like bridesmaids dresses alterations, they would just come under the general alteration side of things. We've also opened up a new service, which is dry cleaning as well. So it's actually quite nice to do the dry cleaning service, just because after the brides get married, I actually get to see them again, which is quite nice. It's not just goodbye sort of thing. Yeah, they show me photos and things like that, so it's quite nice for them to return back. So dry cleaning, and then the other service that we do is also storage of wedding gowns. It's just a new service that I've sort of started just because a lot of brides come to me and say, "Oh, do you mind just holding on to my dress?" Just because I actually don't have space. Either they don't have space, or because they've got pets as well who just like climb on their dresses.
It's so great. Yeah, we've got that whole range kind of like end to end of the bride experience for people, and then yeah, everything around that as well. So I love that. So you guys obviously do bespoke dresses, and is there any other like accessories and veils that you custom create as well?
Yeah, yeah. So we do custom veils as well. So we have sample veils on hand that brides can try on, and but then it can completely be customized. So you can choose your fabric, the tulle fabric, and get it embroidered as well. So a lot of people are right now asking about they either want statements or the initials or the wedding date to be embroidered on the veil. And I think that's such a cool personalized idea as well. And that's a lot of brides who don't want to keep their wedding dress, they end up keeping the veil. Like they can sell their dress but keep the veil, that sort of thing. So I think that's a really cool, like a keepsake.
For sure. That's so beautiful. There's something about veils that just make a bride. Like, yeah, it's the difference between just a pretty dress. And yeah, I love seeing more unique veils or even different colors and embroidery and personalizing it. Just yeah, we've seen a lot of different ones now, which is really cool.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of like the floral ones that are coming out. We're actually custom making one for one of my brides. Usually with the plain dresses, it suits a little bit more. That you have like big flowers, colorful flowers, and that sort of stuff at the rim of your veil. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful way to just, if you want quite like a simple, classic looking dress and then having a bit more detail in the veil. So, yeah, I love that look. Can you talk about a kind of realistic timeline for brides when it comes to wedding dresses? How long does it take to get a bespoke dress made? How many fittings do they need? And yeah, if you can chat us through that whole process leading up to the wedding day.
Yeah, absolutely. So with bespoke brides, it's obviously different to the bridal alteration. So with bespoke brides, we say a minimum of 4 months. We actually have done things um, in less than 4 months as well, but I would not recommend that. The 4 months is minimum. If you can give us about 6 months in the busy season, that's probably better as well. Also, because the brides tend to want to fluctuate with weight, it just helps more with that, and it gives us a good time frame to do all that and along with the fittings. So with a bespoke bride, when she comes in for a initial consultation, if they know what they're after, exactly know what they're after, then we do a sketch for them and we talk about the different fabrics that would be ideal for their design. And we start taking the measurements and start the process from there. If a bride comes in and they are unaware of anything that they want, we first actually tell them to go try on different dresses at this bridal stores. And if they find the one, that's great. But if they don't, at least they know the silhouette that sort of suits them. And you'll be surprised, like so many people walk in going, "Oh, I want an off-shoulder dress," and then when they put it on, it doesn't suit them at all. Um, so yeah, it's definitely good to try on different dresses, different styles, just to know what really suits your body type as well and what makes you feel beautiful and comfortable in it. So that's the first and foremost that I actually have a phone conversation with them and say to go and do that. And then they come in with the ideas, and then we sort of mix and match. Like if they like the top half of one dress and bottom half of the other dress, we do a sketch and mix them together. Obviously, making sure that there's no copyright issues with that. We do not copy any other designer's work. So yeah, we will change it up and make it unique for them. So after the measurements are all taken, they come in for their first mock-up fitting. So mock-up is basically made out of fabric it's not their fabric that they've chosen, but just maybe like a lining fabric. So they still get the nice drapery and the fit that they're looking for. So that would be the first mock-up fitting, and usually after the adjustments are made to the pattern, they come in for a second mock-up fitting, just making sure that everything is exactly the way they want it. This is in the span of about 2 months. The first mock-up takes about 3 to 4 weeks, depending on our timeline as well and how busy we are at the moment. Yeah, and then the second mock-up, same again, about 4 weeks, and then from there they would come in for their last fitting, which is to do with their actual fabric that they've chosen. At that point, everything's lined. The only thing that's remaining to do is adding maybe the closure as a zip or and the hemming to be done. Yeah, and then at the final pickup, they try it on, make sure everything's perfect, and get to take it away in a custom bag, and then they get a personal bridal folder containing the sketch and the fabric.
I love that. That's so good to hear the whole process and what people can expect. And yeah, I think that's such a special service, getting it custom made, fit to their body. And yeah, what you were saying about trying on some different dresses, I hear that a lot, that people have like pinned all these dresses that they love, or they've always like seen on Instagram and thought that's my dress, and then try it on and it actually doesn't suit their body. So that's a really important part of the process for sure.
Absolutely.
Is there any mistakes that you often see that are common with brides when it comes to their wedding dresses, or any little tips you can give?
I'll talk like bespoke and then for alterations as well. For bespoke, if you're wanting to wear any undergarments, such as like some brides do want to wear a bra in a dress, or shapewear. If that's something that you do want to wear and know you want to wear that in your dress, come with it to get it measured, because it's so important for the initial measurements to be correct, and then the process can just be so much more smoother. I mean, of course, if during the process you do decide to come in with a shapewear, that's okay. It just means that it will just delay the process a little bit. So it's just easier for both parties if the bride is just prepared a little bit in that sort of sense. Um, but the other initial mistake, as I was speaking earlier, was they don't know what they're after. So that's where trying on different dresses is probably a must. But in terms of alterations, I think brides sometimes get either pressured with the friends that they bring, or they're not completely happy with the dress and they still purchase it. I don't know why. It seems to be a lot of money. But yeah, I've had a few brides recently, actually, funny enough. They come through and they just want to change the entire dress. And I'm like, have you ever thought about getting it custom made? Because it would be not cheaper, but it would probably end up being sort of similar price at the end, that you're paying for it. So yeah, just be confident in what you're saying yes to. don't make your family, your friends, or even the bridal stores make that decision for you. Yeah, just make sure that you're feeling comfortable, and also just look at every part of the dress when you're purchasing it, not just the front. Because usually they would just, see the front and, see the sides, maybe turn a little bit, but see the entire back and how it's fitting you. Because my changing room has front and side mirrors, so you can really see like throughout the entirety of the dress. And then they come in here and they find out, oh, I don't know, did that around my bum? And I'm like, yes, it did. That sort of thing. The other thing that I find that's actually becoming more and more popular is step off the pedestal when you're in the bridal store. The pedestal, when you're standing on it, elongates the dress and it elongates the body. So the proportions of the body just changes. It's like wearing heels with a dress and not wearing the heels. So step off the pedestal and just see, what the dress looks like at your normal height, because not everyone's that tall. And also make sure that you can sit in the dress. A lot of girls, they get everything tight and it looks amazing when standing, and then when it comes to sitting down, they're like, oh no, it's really uncomfortable, around the abdomen area or anything of that sort, around the hip area. So that's something that definitely, sit down in your dress, because you will be sitting down at some point.
Great advice. So many good tips. And yeah, it's definitely can be quite an emotional and yeah, even like vulnerable process for people getting their dress made or choosing their dress. And yeah, you must see that a lot and have to kind of hold their hand through it. And yeah, do you have anything you can tell us about that, or that you recommend people bringing like their mum and all their bridal party, is or is a smaller group better, just in terms of feeling pressured and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah. I say bring someone that is not judgmental but can still give you a good, honest opinion without making you feel bad. So if that's your mum or your best friend or anyone really, bring them with you. I think sometimes brides do it alone, and that's okay if that's the type of person you are. It just means that you know what you want and you don't really need anyone else's opinion, and that's fine. But if you're someone that can't make decisions and go, oh, and that sort of thing, and want to, get on a call with someone, I would suggest for that person to bring someone with you, and someone that you trust and, respect as well, and vice versa for that person, for the bride.
So maybe one or two.
Yeah, one or two. I wouldn't say bring like more than three. I say three is like the max.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, yeah, too overwhelming. And to be honest, there's too many people in the changing room. Including me and the bride as well. Like too many people.
You obviously get all different body types and everyone is different, and also a lot more common for people to get married while they're pregnant these days. So yeah, can you talk a little bit about that, how brides plan around if maybe they're early pregnant and they're going to be later stage when they get married, or yeah, even they might be postpartum breastfeeding but their body is kind of changing throughout the whole process. Yeah, when do they start and what's the kind of turnaround for alterations with that changing body?
Absolutely. With brides that are pregnant, first and foremost, oh my goodness, like they've got so much going on, they don't need any additional stress when it comes to their dress not fitting them. So we try to make that process as smooth as possible. We do have a shorter turnaround for the pregnant brides as well, obviously due to the growth. So having two kids myself, I've gone through it. Obviously not when I was getting married, but I've gone through that process and I know how the body changes. So I can, freely speak to the bride and say, hey, look, I've got you, you're safe, first and foremost. And firstly, if it's the first baby or if it's the second baby, how's your body growing? And I, have an open discussion with them just so I know when to book them in for, an appointment. So I've had brides on Instagram or Facebook just message me going, hey, I'm pregnant, but at the wedding, I'm going to be about 5 months. When do I come in? Things like that. And then over time, I say, okay, I touch base with them. Hey, how are you doing? How's the body growing? And, how's the dress currently fitting you? So one of my brides actually just came in yesterday who was pregnant, and her zip was going up all the way, which was really good. And then just a week before, it wasn't. So, and she's getting married at the end of November. Majority of the times, if the zip doesn't do up and if the dress doesn't allow us to, doesn't have any seam allowance inside, we can do a corset at the back, and that usually is quite common. And also because for growing bellies, it just makes sense that you can tie it up at whatever tightness you want on the day as well, so you can feel comfortable. But yeah, usually for if it's just like the hemming side of things, we have a tight turnaround of 2 weeks. So they just need to come in 2 weeks before the wedding.
That's good. Just so communicate with whoever's making you a dress and yeah, make a plan for that changing body. That's awesome that you can accommodate for that. Is there any other little details or yeah, tips you can give us when it comes to things people might forget or yeah, with the whole wedding dress process?
Anything else? Yes, do bring your shoes when it comes to the hemming process. I tend to say no to brides who actually bring shoes, but they're not the right ones. They keep saying that oh, it's going to be the height of this shoe. Funny enough, I've gone through so many brides who actually then end up either bringing shoes that are either the same heel height, but they forget that at the front the old shoe didn't have a platform, but the new shoe does, so it goes even higher. So I've actually stopped doing hemmings or pinning hemmings unless the bride insists. Then yeah, sure, we will do it. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable hemming a dress without the right shoes because anything can change. And also, if you end up bringing shoes that you're not actually wanting to wear, you're kind of restricted to that heel height. And especially then, if you fall in love with another pair of shoes, you're like, oh crap, I can't purchase them because I've already got my dress hem. So all you have to do is come in for another fitting, and you'd rather do that and have your dress at the perfect height, rather than second guessing that.
So you're obviously married yourself and have been through that whole experience and then worked in the industry for years. So is there any advice, even just in general with wedding planning, that you can give to couples that are planning their wedding at the moment?
Yeah, especially on the day. There's so much planning involved, and just do not get upset if something goes wrong because those are not the memories that you want to remember. You know, I will share my one, because it was kind of funny now, but it wasn't funny on the day. My So when we entered the venue, I saw the cake and I was like, that's not my cake. That doesn't look like my cake at all from what we saw. And especially what gave it away was the cake topper. So we had a beautiful cake topper planned. It was actually custom made, so it was out of Auckland that we got it done. But this cake topper, it was like just a man and a woman standing hand in hand, and I'm like, that's not us. So anyway, so I called up the cake people and they said that we're very sorry, but what had happened was 2 days earlier, an intern was packing away our cake topper, and she by mistake dropped it, and she was too scared to tell her boss that, and so she just packed it away and sent it across to Auckland. Yeah. So, and then obviously my cake company couldn't do anything about it at the last stage, so they were only able to offer what they had in stock. So that's just what had happened. It's sad, but at the same time, like, it is what it is, you know.
It's kind of a funny story now. There's always something, isn't there?
You know what? But it's such a human nature. Like someone gets scared of the boss, like that.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what the intern must have gone through as well. So it is what it is, and that's okay. Another thing that went wrong on the day was we actually had the venue. We booked the venue because you could see the view of the Rangitoto, the mountain, and it was really beautiful. But on the day, the blinds wouldn't work, so you couldn't see the view. But you know what? It was so good. Yeah, it was just a lot, but it's okay. It's okay. Like, yeah, sure, you can get upset about it, but nothing good is going to come out of it. So I still love the wedding. Yes, I wish I could do it again, but just elope this time maybe. But yeah, just don't get upset.
Great advice. Hindsight's beautiful as well, in that yeah, it's been many years. So, of course, there's things you're like, oh, I would do that
Yeah.
differently if I did
The
it
fact that I still
now.
remember it though.
Yeah. Is there things that stand out about the wedding planning process that were the most like difficult, or yeah, just like key things that you would change if you were doing it now?
I think we planned it pretty well. Like I would still go ahead with booking the venue first and then the photographers because those are the ones that really do get booked well in advance. I would not suggest starting with the dress. I know some people say yes, start with the dress, but dresses they change. You've got dresses they come in seasons. You've got dresses that new collections come out. So unless you're the type of bride who has purchased her dress 2 years ago and still wants to wear that dress, that's perfect. But you are more likely going to want to change your taste and the trends and things like that. So don't start off with your dress, but do allow like a good 8 months to a year for it. Depends on how long you're planning the wedding for, obviously. Also, pull up the stores and first ask them, like, how long does a dress take to come in, you know? And then maybe work your way backwards like that. Especially, if there's a designer or someone you want to work with, talk to them about that process. And then don't forget, once your dress comes, that's not it. You then need to get it altered. So don't forget about alterations, okay? Because no dress is going to just come in and fit you perfectly. Like there is going to be at least maybe the hem needs to be done or something. But yeah, just allow that extra time for the alterations.
Is that something you talk about as well, about where brides are getting married? Because considering like their venue tying into their dress style, I guess not every dress is going to suit like the beach or a more church formal wedding, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, like if a person's having a church wedding, like it's just so simple, but people maybe they don't think about it. Like you have a certain aisle width that you're walking down. Like if you're gonna have a massive as wide circular train, just be mindful that it's not gonna be, that wide anymore. Like it's gonna, fold on itself. And as long as they're okay with that, that's fine. But many people don't think about little things like that. Beach weddings, I've had a lot of brides go bare feet with it as well. And it's quite nice. Something about beach weddings that you do want to think about is you do sink into the sand, heels or no heels. So, you know, um, having the dress height at a certain place is something that you need to chat about when getting your dress altered, and that's something that I chat about with all my brides. Things like concrete. Is it polished concrete or is it just gravel concrete? Like, is your veil going to get ripped or something? Like you have to think about that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's things that people would forget, or yeah, not think about, just what kind of surface you're on even, or how much space you have, and then yeah, maybe even changing dresses. Do you have a lot more brides now that have like a reception dress or maybe like a mini dress for later or something?
Yeah, yeah, they do. They bring in two dresses sometimes for alterations as well. I know the ones who get bespoke garments, they actually wear that the entire day. It just depends. Like some brides don't know what a bustle is. So a bustle is basically you can pick up the train and loop it behind, so you're not really holding anything. So your long train becomes more into like a shorter train or just floor length sort of dress. So once brides find out about that, they are more inclined to wear the dress, the same dress again for reception as well. But yeah, the trend is to get a second reception dress as well. It's like a look change sort of thing.
It's obviously an investment, and it's like this amazing day that's only one day. So you want to wear that dress as long as possible, really, if you're getting that custom made to you. Maybe you'll do like a second shoot or something later, but yeah, you're probably just going to wear that the one day.
Especially if there's like so much money on the one dress. I think you want to make the most of it.
If you're happy to talk about like pricing and stuff, I know it's super hard because I imagine just everyone is customized and it's going to be different. But yeah, can you talk about what people can expect, even like a ballpark figure for maybe alterations and then bespoke?
Yeah, sure. So bridal alterations generally will cost between the $300 to $900. Obviously, that's like general, like plain dress, taking in straps adjustment and maybe a hem. If you only need your straps adjusted, it's not going to cost $300. So it's just, that's just a general ballpark of how much, how many alterations you actually need on your dress. But some can go actually beyond the $900, and that's only because either they have lace trim around the hem, which is quite expensive to do. They've got beaded dress, a lot of hand sewing is involved, that sort of stuff. So that's more time consuming. So along with other alterations that need to be done, if it's, you've got all those other elements as well to your dress, it may be a little bit more. So do consider the price of your dress, when purchasing it, because you need to account for the alterations as well. For alterations, I also get many people who want to remake the entire top half of the dress. So that's obviously then going to go over the $900 as well. In terms of the bespoke ball gowns, sorry, ball gowns, the bespoke bridal gowns, they start from the 2,800. Majority of ours range between the 35 to 4,800. It can go higher as well, but majority of the ones that the brides want us to get made, they will range between that ballpark figure.
Nice. That's great for people to know. And yeah, we're trying to get a bit more transparency with how much things cost and yeah, when it comes to weddings. So great to share that. Is there what do you recommend people do after their wedding with their dress? Obviously you have got some services that cover that, so that is amazing. But yeah, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you did want to, obviously, first and foremost, dry clean your dress, because even if you don't want to hold on to it, if you want to sell it, the buyer wants it dry cleaned first and foremost. And it's just better to dry clean it ASAP after the wedding, just so any marks that are there will come out much more easily than if it's set in for about like a few months. So, and then if you did want to box your dress up, just make sure that it's actually in an acid-free tissue and acid-free box as well. That stops the fabric to turn yellow. I wish I did that with my dress. I should have listened to my own advice. Yeah, we learn. But it's a beautiful dress. It's a beautiful dress that's now champagne.
Yeah, do you find that most brides keep their dresses or want to sell, or it's just up to the individual, I guess?
Yeah. A lot of people do hang on to it, just because I think they want to sell it, but they can't seem to part with it. That's something like me. Like I've held on to my dress, and I still, I just don't want to do anything with it. I think I just want to just keep it as is, really. Yeah.
It's quite a cool keepsake, and like if you have a daughter or yeah, they pull that out years later when it comes to their wedding. I know my mum kept her wedding dress, and my grandma was actually a dressmaker and she made it for her. And yeah, my sister ended up wearing it on her wedding day, but altered a bit more, less 80s style. So yeah, that's cool. Even if they can use part of it for like some of the fabric or the veil or something, it's yeah, it can be a special thing to keep for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's pretty much all my questions. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Any other advice for engaged people? Or yeah, you've given us so much goodness already.
Not really. In terms of advice, it's just recently what I've just sort of heard. It's just, and one of my brides and I were just talking about it a couple of weeks ago as well. She's like, "Hey, when getting married, do I put my engagement ring on my right hand, or do I just wear it as is?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know if I'm the right person to answer this question because I think it's everyone else's opinion as well." But a lot of people say that you need to put your engagement ring on the right hand, and so I'm like, no, my husband has put this ring on my finger. I don't want to remove it, sort of thing. And so the wedding band will just go just after it. It's just one of those things. So just follow what's true to you. I don't think there's anything that you need to follow a trend of. I mean, you can follow a trend if you want, but if it's not you, it's not you.
Yeah, I love that advice. There's so many traditions and like expectations when it
Yeah.
comes to weddings. And yeah, I do see that ring thing a lot. They wear it on the other hand and then swap it back because I don't even
Yeah,
know
I was
where it
like, why
comes
do you swap
from.
it back
There's
then?
something about the engagement ring going on last, and or they like give it to their bridesmaid, then put it on later. But You can totally do whatever you want. And yeah, there's so many of those traditions, like, yeah, even like how you walk down the aisle, if you see each other before the ceremony, if you want to
Yeah,
throw the bouquet or the garter or whatever, like, you don't have to do any of that. You can just do, yeah, whatever you want.
I know. I wish I knew a bit more of a few trends though. Like it's just simple ones like you can dry your flowers. Like I don't know if I didn't know that that was a thing in back in 2015 or it just wasn't there, but it's such a hype now and I wish I could have done that with mine. You know, I would love my bouquet.
There's some beautiful companies now that do that, like press them into a frame or something. I've seen that popping up a bit, which is beautiful.
And the first look sort of thing. I wish I knew of that.
You learn a lot from being in the industry for years, and yeah, it's all that like timeline stuff and how the flow of the day goes. That is, yeah, you notice. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I think people are going to get a lot out of this, so appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.